The vastness of space stretched out before the fleet of the Galactic Federation. Their ships, sleek and advanced, each bore the markings of a powerful empire. Across the void, the Federation maintained peace by controlling the most advanced technologies and weapons known to any species. Yet, despite their might, they were not prepared for what they were about to face. Commander Zethar stood at the helm of the flagship Spectra. He surveyed the fleet of ships as they prepared for their next mission. This mission, however, wasn't like the others. It was a response to a growing threat, an alien race they had never encountered before, the humans. The humans had arrived on the scene as a newly emerging power, but they were different from anything the Federation had ever seen. Their ships were not sleek and streamlined like the Federation's. They were oddly shaped, bulky, and covered in strange markings, embers. It wasn't the design of the ships that had the Federation worried. It was the meaning behind those numbers. The Federation couldn't fathom why these ships bore hull numbers in such a prominent way. "Commander, the human fleet is approaching," Lieutenant Threx said, snapping Zethar out of his thoughts. "Their ships are interesting, to say the least." Zethar glanced at the display. The human ships were a far cry from the Federation's sleek technological marvels. They were built in a way that made no sense, clunky, with industrial parts that looked almost outdated. But there was something about them, a strange, unyielding strength that radiated from their hulls. "Prepare to engage," Zethar ordered. "We'll show them the might of the Federation." The Spectrum moved forward, flanked by two other ships of the same class. As they approached the human fleet, Zethar couldn't help but wonder about the oddities of the humans. Their ships had these numbers, simple, unremarkable digits, but they were always proudly displayed across the ship's hulls. There was no logo, no symbol of their empire, just numbers. And the humans referred to their ships by those numbers. The battle began, and the Federation ships opened fire. But the humans, instead of retreating or responding in a way the Federation was accustomed to, simply began to laugh. Their ships moved in chaotic patterns, as though they had no concern for any form of strategy. They took hits but kept pushing forward, unyielding. "Why aren't they retreating? Why aren't they responding like we expected?" Threx exclaimed in disbelief. Zethar didn't have an answer. It wasn't just the ships, either. The human soldiers on board were a mystery. They fought with an intensity that seemed irrational. For other species might have been strategic or tactical. The humans fought with a kind of brutal determination that made them unpredictable. As the battle raged on, the Federation began to feel something they hadn't in millennia, doubt. The humans weren't like any race they had fought before. They didn't care about the usual rules of warfare. The Federation's advanced technology, precision weaponry, and strategic superiority didn't seem to matter in the face of the humans' unrelenting will to fight. "We must disable their main ship," Zethar ordered. He turned to his tactical officer, who pointed to a massive human battleship in the distance. They had a hull number so large that it couldn't be ignored. It seemed to shimmer in the dark expanse of space. Hull number 68 Alpha. Firing on their central core, the officer shouted. The Spectra unleashed a salvo of energy blasts, aimed at the heart of the human ship. The energy struck, and the hull shook from the impact. The Federation ships were certain they had damaged it severely, but the human ship barely flinched. It turned, and its cannons fired with terrifying accuracy. The Federation ships reeled as they took hit after hit. The humans didn't retreat. They advanced with a confidence that was infuriating. Zethar watched in disbelief as the 68 Alpha plowed through their lines, firing with precision. "How are they doing this?" Zethar muttered under his breath. The answer came from an unexpected place. "Commander, I've been monitoring their communications," Lieutenant Threx said. "It's strange. They're talking about the hull numbers." Zethar raised an eyebrow. "The hull numbers?" "Yes. They keep calling their ships by the hull numbers. 68 Alpha seems to be their flagship, but it's not just a name. It's as if they draw strength from it." Zethar turned to face the screen. The 68 Alpha had taken so many hits, yet it continued to fight like a beast that would not be tamed. Zethar had seen it all. He had fought across countless galaxies, defeated the strongest enemies. But this was different. The humans' pride in their hull numbers and their ships was a force he couldn't comprehend. It wasn't just a number to them, it was their identity. They are connected to their ships, Zethar said, more to himself than to anyone else. Every battle, every victory, it's all tied to that number. It was then that Zethar realized that humans had something the Federation had overlooked, an unshakable sense of identity and unity. The hull numbers were not just identifiers, they were symbols of the humans' resolve. The ships were not just vehicles, they were extensions of the crew, the soldiers, the very essence of the human spirit. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the human ships continued to fight, each one with their own hull number, each one fighting for something greater than themselves. The Federation ships, though powerful and technologically advanced, began to falter. They didn't understand the humans' devotion to their ships, to their numbers, and that, in the end, made the humans nearly unbeatable. The Federation, with all its power, could not understand the heart of the humans' battle. It wasn't about tactics or strategy. It was about something deeper. It was about pride, unity, and an unyielding will to fight for what they believed in, no matter how impossible the odds seemed. In the end, Zethar ordered a retreat. The Federation had underestimated the humans, and that had cost them dearly. As the Federation ships limped back to their base, Zethar couldn't shake the image of the 68 Alpha and its hull number glowing brightly in the darkness of space. The humans had won, not because they had the best weapons or the strongest ships, but because they believed in something the Federation had long forgotten, the power of identity. And that, Zethar realized, was what made humans truly strange. Their battleships had hull numbers. Those numbers, they found their strength. The Federation would have to learn that lesson, one way or another.